DeGale is seen as one of the best, if not the best, super middleweight in the world. And I think that's an embarrassment, in my opinion. As everybody saw the other night, the guy is just easy to hit. He comes out after a 12-round fight and he's got no teeth. That's embarrassing, in my opinion. You're a world champion and you have no defense. Those are the three I want. And I'm going to interject here into this quote. He's talking about James DeGale, Billy Joe Saunders, and Gennady Golovkin. All right. So let me go back into the quote. Those are the three I want. But I know boxing is a fickle sport, so I'm going to take whatever I can get. You can't plan a route like that. You just have to deal with the things as and when they come. As I said, those are the three guys I would like, but I know there are no guarantees. I'll be ready for anything, and that all starts with February the 4th and beating Quinlan. Those are the words of Chris Eubank Jr. talking about James DeGale. He says James DeGale is embarrassing, or his performance against Badou Jack was embarrassing. The fact he got hit so much. In Eubank Jr.'s view, James DeGale has got no defense. It is interesting because earlier on in James DeGale's career, he was renowned for having a very good defense. Some people had even compared his defense to Floyd Mayweather. I'm not saying that's an accurate comparison, but I'm just telling you there are a lot of people who said that there are similarities, quite strong similarities between James DeGale's defense and Mayweather's. And to be fair to him, this fight that he just had with Badou Jack is the only fight that I've seen of his where he got hit a lot with a lot of clean punches. Because normally he don't get hit that clean that often. He got hit with a few shots in the Lucian Bute fight, maybe in the Porky Medina fight. In fact, his past couple fights he's been getting hit more than usual. Perhaps it's because he's stepped up to world level. But whatever the case may be, yeah, Chunky's defense has definitely not been looking particularly great, and certainly nothing like a Mayweather defense. I've said this previously. I'm going to reiterate. I think that Chunky should go and get a different trainer. I know people love loyalty and all this kind of stuff, but a trainer's career will go on long after your expiry date as a world level fighter has come to an end. You've only got a finite amount of time as a fighter to get it right when you're in your prime years. That's when you can earn the most money. That's when you can usually get the best victories in your career. So you have to get it right during that finite window of time. And in my view, there's no place for sentimentality. You got to get the right people on board to get you to the absolute best, to the peak of your powers, to make the most of your ability during that finite time window. It's not about loyalty or any of this kind of stuff for the boxer. Because as I say, the trainer, well, his career is going to continue when you're no longer a world level athlete. Same with the promoter, same with everybody. Their careers are all going to continue. They'll be able to get another fighter in and another fighter in. But your career as a fighter, after a certain period, is over. And it's a short window, a small window. So as I say, I think he should look elsewhere for a trainer other than Jim McDonnell. I did see Spencer Fearon on I think it was on a Toe to Toe podcast, or it might have been a different Sky Sports interview, where the question was put to him, do you think that James DeGale should get rid of Jim McDonnell? And Spencer Fearon said no. But he seemed to suggest that perhaps they could bring somebody in to help Jim McDonnell train James DeGale. I'm not really a fan of that. I'm a fan of really one trainer. You might have a few assistants here and there, but there has to be one strong voice in the corner, not 2-3 different voices in the corner when the fight's going on. That just confuses the fighter in my view. So I think he should get somebody, I think an American trainer, because American trainers are more familiar with the style that James DeGale tries to employ. And if not an American trainer, I'm not saying all American trainers, I'm saying certain American trainers are more familiar with the style that James DeGale is trying to adopt or employ in his career. If not an American trainer, I think Tunde Ajayi might be somebody that James DeGale could look at. And the reason I say Tunde Ajayi is because I think Tunde so far, and again, this young man hasn't been tested, so I'm just looking on a very superficial level at the moment. But from what I've seen so far of Anthony Yarde, from a technical point of view, I think Tunde Ajayi is doing a very good job with him. I like the way Anthony Yarde moves in the ring. I like the way he throws punches. Again, his defense hasn't been tested against even moderately decent opposition. But I have a feeling that it'll probably hold up. We'll see. I mean, James DeGale at this stage of his career, you know, when he was at the same stage of his career as Anthony Yarde, he may have even looked better than Yarde defensively and better than Yarde technically. I'll have to go back and look at James DeGale, early James DeGale fights to be able to confirm that. Maybe he didn't look as good as Yarde, but still, the point I'm making here is, yeah, Ajayi might be somebody that James DeGale would consider if he does want to move away from Jim McDonnell. But I think Jim McDonnell was so deeply entrenched into DeGale's life and in his mindset and all that, I doubt he'll get anybody else. But I really do think that's what he needs. If he doesn't get a different trainer, then I expect James DeGale to lose sometime in the next year or two. I expect him to lose at least once, because at the moment, I think he's plateaued. I think he's gone as far as he can go, at least with Jim McDonnell. A new trainer might breathe a new lease of life into his career. But with Jim McDonnell, I think he's peaked and he's gone as far as he's ever going to go. So let me know what you think in the comment section below about Chris Eubank Jr.'s comments about James DeGale, his defense, saying that it's embarrassing. Now, I have to say, just to close out the video, that Chris Eubank Jr.'s comments, or the timing of his comments, coinciding with, because he's been doing a lot of trash talk, Chris Eubank Jr. lately. And the fact that this trash talk is coinciding with the build up to his fight against Reynold Quinlan, that is no coincidence, in my opinion. He's trying to get as much publicity as possible at the moment. So that is what that is. But perhaps you think he's made some valid points about DeGale's defense. And what do you think about him possibly fighting DeGale? I have mentioned this in previous videos, but if I give you some more food for thought, you may change your mind. You may alter your perception or alter your prediction on a Chris Eubank Jr. James DeGale fight. It was interesting when I mentioned this in one of the videos I did immediately after James DeGale's fight with Badou Jack. Quite a lot of people were saying that Eubank would beat DeGale. So, I don't know, maybe we'll see how Eubank Jr. looks against Quinlan. Most people expect him to beat Quinlan easy. And if he does, I guess we don't really learn much, because most people expected it. But as I've said in many other videos, you're only as good as your last fight. People remember your last fight. That's the last impression they have of you. So if Eubank Jr. puts in a spectacular performance, I think there'll be more people believing that he can beat James DeGale, because on James DeGale's last performance, he didn't look particularly good, even though it was against the top super middleweight. So I'm just telling you, this is the psyche of people in general, and certainly boxing fans. You're only as good as your last fight. Anyway, let me stop waffling here. Please drop your comments below. I'll be very interested to know how you guys feel about everything that has been raised and quoted in this video. All right? It's Hatman, I'm out.